So, in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 26, the Bible says, "Be ye angry, and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath. Be angry, but sin not." So, we are permitted to be angry, but we should not sin. The second stanza of it seemed to be what people heard, that let not the sun go down on your wrath. What if the sin came at sundown? That's a very serious question. So, for that question and the answer thereof, we know that the Bible does not mean literal meaning we are giving to it. It is not that literal meaning that if somebody sin against you in the morning, forgive him before it is night. But what if the sin comes in the night? So which we can still take it to tomorrow morning, so that another sundown or something. That is not what the Bible is saying. So what the Bible is actually saying is what we are going to explain today. Now, three things that gives us direction into what the Bible is saying. Let me quickly say it so that let's remove all the technicalities around it before I give explanation. When you are angry, number one thing it means is that when you are angry, do not talk, because whatever you say can now legalize and establish the anger forever. Anger comes and go, but whatever you say in midst of that anger can last generationally. That's number one. Don't talk when you are angry. That is what it means that you should say not when you are angry. Number two, when you are angry, don't act, because whatever action you take can become generational problems. Number three, when you are angry, take no decision, because whatever decision you take, when the anger reverses, you might not be able to reverse that decision again. And we are going to dwell upon the third, because the first is a bit easy to understand, the second a bit easy to understand, but the third is a bit technical and complex. That is why I am going to dwell upon it. Now, I'm going to cite three examples in the Bible. Two are guilty of it, but one passes the test. The first, I'm going to make the example of one of the greatest kings in the Bible, who was king over 127 countries of the world. And that is talking about King Ahasuerus in the days of Esther. The name of his wife was Vashti. And in his joy of glamour, he organized a party. In those days, women don't gather where men gather. Women stay alone. In fact, when men are doing party, their wife is doing their own somewhere, so that there will be no mingle. It was Middle East. So they respect the estate of women, that it should not interact so much with men. Remember, whenever God comes to Abraham, Sarah is always at the inner part of the house. She wasn't outward to receive angels with her husband. That was the way it was in those days. Now, but when the king was already drunk with wine, he was already high. He broke the law that day, because the king is having the final word. He said he should call his wife to come and dance, to come and show his beauty before his friends. And he went and called the wife, where the wife was heading the party for the women. And the wife was surprised what that meant. And she said she cannot come. Why? Because traditionally it shouldn't be so. But also, whatever the king says is the final. What was she supposed to do? She was supposed to drop tradition and honor the voice of her husband, but she declined to come. When she declined to come, that became an embarrassment in the eyes of the husband. So what happened? The Bible makes us to see that the man called a meeting over the wife, over what the wife did. Actually, everybody saw it. But despite the fact that everybody saw it, the husband can still disallow any discussion over it, to allow himself time to understand why the wife didn't come. But you know what? It became a cabinet discussion. If you read Esther chapter 1 from verse 12, Esther chapter 1 from verse 12, the Bible says that the king was so angry, and in that embarrassment, he made the issue of that wife that refused to answer him a cabinet discussion. But the Queen Esther Vashti, or the Queen Vashti, refused to call, and the king commandment by his chamberlains. Therefore was the king very wroth, and his anger burned in him. See, then the king said unto the wise men, that's making it a cabinet discussion. I know what? A cabinet man, Memucan, advised that this thing that happened is in the know of every member of the cabinet, and some members of the country are privy to it. So, in order to prevent other women doing the same to their husband and claiming that after all, Queen also did it to the king, let an harsh decision be taken so that it will become a deterrent to others. Responsibility must flow from the top downward. So the king was told to banish the queen out of palace, and that will become a deterrent. Whatever the king says, he cannot reverse it again. The moment he says it, no reversal. Even himself cannot reverse it, because it has become more or less constitution. As a result, by that advice, the advice looks good, and that was how Vashti was driven. But something now happened. If you read through that chapter, but in chapter 2, after these things, when the wrath of the king Ahasuerus was appeased, he remembered Vashti and what she had done, and what was decreed against her. What does that mean? He started missing his wife. But he cannot undo it again. Under wrath, he has taken a decision. You man, however angry you are against your wife, allow temper, justice, mercy, allow the incidents to go before you take any decision. In fact, if you are going to consult anybody at all, let the thing lie. Because most of the time, we are always, especially in marriage, we are always in error of this. When the matters are hot, we take decision, and you know what? The secret you share, the intimacy you have shared, whatever, it's a struggle at the end of the day. That is how many people enter into bastardized humanitarian life. Now, the Bible says this man was missing his wife, but he cannot call her back again. So that led to the first great beauty pageant in the Bible, that led to the choice of Esther becoming the next queen. So that is just one. He was wrought. Under his anger, he took decision, but he started missing his wife again. He couldn't undo it. Have you taken some decision out of anger and rush, and before you know it, you are asking yourself, and I would have waited. But what you have done can never be undone again, because you have done something that has more or less permanented what's supposed to be a temporary situation. It's always a decision with anger. When anger comes, it's always a dangerous bust to speak, to act, or to take decision in the midst of that hot situation. Second example, in 2 Samuel chapter 13, the Bible makes us see that David has some children that are, to say the least, funny children. I don't pray that even enemies of Jesus Christ will have such children at times. But that was a lot of David. The Bible makes us to see that firstborn Amnon was in erotic affection towards his half-sister Tamar, and a friend Jonadab advised him what to do, and he went ahead and do it. He seduced the lady with brotherly affection, and he raped her. And the minute he raped her, there was disaffection, there was hatred, and that's surely what will happen. In every sexual situation that is not decently conducted, there will be hatred at the end of the day. That's why many people struggle in marriage. Why? Because hatred are setting, because what they have done on the way cannot be undone anymore. In fact, honeymoon, the honey has been leaked already. So we see that hatred setting. When the hatred setting, in those days, a woman that was raped or that asked husband, you cannot marry again, because the moment you are deflowered, that deflowering is the finality of your marital life. So, and the lady has a full brother in the name of Absalom, who was the third born to David. He calmed the sister down, expecting to see what David would do in response to what Amnon has done. David didn't do anything. For 2 full years, he was expecting to see what David would do in response. David didn't do anything. Surely David was going to do something, because what Jacob did to Reuben will have been what David would do to Amnon. But Absalom didn't wait to see where the matter was going. He took the decision himself and took the law to his hands. He organized a party and persuaded David, who wanted to say no, because he knew that there was no such love in their midst. But Absalom insisted that he wanted all his brothers into a banquet together. David was wondering what informed such a love suddenly. Though he wasn't aware of the plan of Absalom inside of him, but Spirit of God was making him to be uncomfortable with such a gathering. But Absalom persuaded, Absalom pressurized and cajoled. David only said, okay, go and hold your party and let your brothers attend with you. So in that same party, when Amnon was drunk, he instructed somebody to kill him. That was how the party scattered. Now, after the thing, the Bible is us to see, if you read from verse 86 downward, after Absalom did that thing, he fled away, because he knew what was his father going to do. In chapter 14 verse 13, and the woman said, wherefore then hast thou taught such a thing against the people of God? For the king's wrath speak this thing as one which is faulty, in that the king does not fetch home against his banished. Which means it was not just Absalom that fled away, the king banished him under that anger, that you kill your brother in revenge of what he did 2 years ago. The king banished means sent him away. I mean, more or less disown him and says he doesn't want to see him again. So Abraham fled to a neighboring country. He was there. But in chapter 14 verse 1, now okay, let's take the last verse in chapter 13. Last verse in chapter 13, and the soul of the king David longed to go forth unto Absalom, for he was comforted concerning Amnon, seeing he was dead. Since Amnon has died, will he lose another son again? Because now he was longing for his son, so that his son will come back. But the people of the country knew that he banished him, so he cannot call him back. It took the intervention of Joab. Now Joab, the son of Zeruiah, that's chapter 14 verse 1 now, perceived that the king's heart was towards was towards Absalom. So his heart was towards Absalom, but he cannot do anything, because publicly he has said that I disown you, I banish you. Joab was the king of army staff, so he has to help David because at that time David was more or less becoming disconcentrated. He was more or less becoming absent-minded, and Joab noticed it, and he found out that what was making David to become absent-minded in things he's doing in the king's business and all other military. You cannot be a military leader and be absent-minded. The country is gone. So Joab discovered that the reason why he was absent-minded was because he was feeling for Absalom. He has banished away from town. So that was how Joab now organized a woman to come and speak to David proverbially. I cannot be talking about that proverb today. I mean, we talk about that some other time. The woman making herself look like she has lost a son, and the king they want to kill another son who killed the other one. That if two sons belong to a single parent and that's all she has, and one kill another one, in law to take his course, would they kill the second one? So what's the left for the woman? And the woman was a widow. That's exactly what the woman presents to David. No, David was not forward to say, the person must die. He said, okay, go back to your house. Anything they do, we are going to take that some other time. Now, the reality of the matter, that was how the woman said to David that if you see it justifiable that they should not kill my other son, why do you want to kill Absalom? Because he killed also Amnon. So David said, somebody is behind this, you're coming. Somebody is behind. He said that you are like an angel who knows all things. I have told the one that sent me, truly the one that sent me is Joab. So that was how Joab was able to get the heart of David to call Absalom back to town. But what we want there is that look at the dimensional anger that became more or less impossible to revert after the anger has ceased. Could that be the reason why God chose a man like Joseph to be the custody of Mary that was going to give birth to Jesus Christ? I think so. It's because of the capacity of heart to pass in such a test that divinity chose Joseph to be the husband of Mary to give birth to Jesus Christ. How do I know? If you go to Matthew chapter 1, you read from verse 18 to verse 19. Matthew chapter 1, verse 18 and 19. Now the birth of Jesus Christ was on this wise. When as his mother Mary was espoused